Okay, you want to get started with your line. You have lots of questions. You want to know how long is it going to take to develop the collection? What are the lead times? How much is it going to cost? How do you handle fabric sourcing? Da 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 da. I mean, we get so many of these types of emails every day, and so I have to do a lot of these videos so I can make sure everybody's clear in this process. So I'm going to show you really quickly. So I just got an email right now asking about lead times and costs. So if you know our process, you know that the only way for us to get costs and to get lead times is to know what it is that we're making. Okay? So that's why we have the development cheat sheet that we send everyone for you to actually put that together, right? So I'll show you here on my screen. This is development cheat sheet. If you don't have it, ask for it. Shoot me a DM with your email address and we'll send it over to you. That's how you lay out what you want to actually make in the collection. So you have 3 sweatshirts, you have joggers, you have a button down, you have, whatever the styles are, you're gonna go ahead and put that in there, okay? Step number 2, reference samples. Unless you're able to give us a tech pack with specific specs of the actual garment, which most people don't have, reference samples is what we want. Bring us other garments that you have in your closet that you find out in the marketplace, and then you modify them. You say, I love this, but I want it to be an inch longer. We're going to not do away with this Mandarin collar. We're going to add, whatever it is that you want to change, but you have to start with something. The reason that's also beneficial is we take that sample and we digitize it, and it's actually allows us to be faster than if you send it to tech pack. So I prefer the reference samples over the tech pack. What do you have in your possession to send us to dictate the actual measurements, or at least something close, so that from there you can say, but change this, add this, subtract that. Oh, and here's the fabric we want to use instead. Hopefully that makes sense. So step 1 and 2 for getting started with development, for understanding lead times, costs, any of that stuff, it's all on you to figure out what am I looking to do? So it's just 2 things. Fill out the development cheat sheet. We make it really easy. Fill that out. Send us or bring in, if you're in Los Angeles, reference samples. Okay, those are the 2 things that we'll need. Then you schedule that meeting with us, that kickoff meeting, and we can go through everything with you. And once we know the scope of work, it's easy for us to say, here's how long it's going to take. This is how much it's going to cost. We'll build a quote for you on the spot in the kickoff meeting. Right? We'll build it right there. Okay, so another question that this guy asked was, how do you deal with fabric choice? How do you pick fabric? So once we know exactly what you are looking for, because you've shown us from your reference samples, or you've told us, I know I want a modal cotton blend, then the job as a whole is given to one of our project managers internally who has a background in this stuff, right? They're coming from other companies having already done this, design, development. They understand fabrics and they know how to put together collections. Once we hand it off and you guys, meet each other, then they source fabrics from dozens of vendors in our local network here in Los Angeles, because we always start local and we always start with fabrics that are already existing, and we bring you options. We give you the different options, we put them in front of you, or if you're not here, we send them to you, and then from there, what you do is you get to select which ones you like best. We also give you the information behind it, so it's not just about picking a fabric you like, it's also knowing that this fabric has a 60 cuttable width. It has this, it's in stock, this many yards are in stock, and it's $4.50 per yard. That's information we give you. Nobody's giving that, okay? So super important that you understand that you're getting that information totally. You get the vendor information, you understand exactly where it's coming from, and we ask a lot of questions, right? So we get a lot of information for you, okay? So now you have fabric and trim and all that stuff selected. Once that's done, our pattern makers over here are going to be building and engineering the fit of your garments to your exact specifications. Okay? So that's happening. While that's happening, we're getting your sample yardage in that we've ordered on your behalf from those vendors, because now it goes from swatch to sample yardage, which is what we need to actually cut and sew samples for you. Now, once that comes in, patterns are done. They get printed out right here, and then we take it over to our cutting table right across the hall. Our cutters will lay down your fabric and then the patterns over top. They cut everything up. We make cutting tickets so it's very organized. and process driven. We then bring it over to the sewing room where we're going to sew the samples. Again, if you have any call outs and you say, hey, I want to make sure I do this special top stitch, or I want to make sure you use, some sort of like press, or really anything that you give us instruction wise, then we put together the garment, and now you have your first sample. Typically, we don't put a print on the first sample because we do that separately in what's called a strike off. That strike off is it's just a piece of fabric, right? I don't have pieces of fabric, I just have garments all around me. But it's a piece of fabric that will have the print on it so you can see what it looks like before we print on that first sample, because otherwise, we don't want to mess up the first one. Our focus on that first round is make sure the fit's perfect, that the fabric is good, it doesn't shrink or anything, and then you just generally like the fit of it on you. So once that's done, you guys are going to come in for a fitting. We're going to do the fitting actually right here in this room, right on the other side there. You'll meet with our pattern maker, Lana, and you'll go through and actually put everything on. If you're not the fit model, bring one so that you're basically trying to replicate what would it be like if your target customer was putting this on. So if you're not who you're selling to, you need to bring a fit model. Okay? We do the fitting. You say, I don't like this. Let's change that. Let's add this, right? You might even change your mind on some things, and that's okay because we understand that this is a creative process. And you're going to sit down with the best people in the industry and make sure that everything is super, super clear. Now, when we're done with this fitting, what we go and we do is round 2. And that's okay. It's already paid for because the sample edits and the second round of, the pattern edits and the second round of samples are included in the quote that we sent you, the original quote. Okay? And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do those edits and we're going to make new samples. If you need more time, then your project manager will let you know, but we try to really estimate it as best as possible. If you go back and you say, let's change these things, then they may need more time. But the point is complete transparency in what we're doing. Now, once that's done, you oftentimes will do a print on that second one, right? And kind of start to put together the final pieces so that we can get you production ready. And once again, the most important thing is that not just that you have samples, it's you have the ingredients to the whole thing and you are in a position to scale properly and go into production with confidence, okay? Let's see, what else did they ask? Tech packs. Again, we build tech packs for you throughout the process of development because you're not shipping this off to China. You're doing it right here. Artwork files, have them ready for us, and if you need help, we have graphic designers on staff, so don't let that prevent you from moving forward in a kickoff meeting. And then you brought up cost, which is a great point. Come to the meeting with your numbers. You should know the retail price points. You should also know what you need to manufacture this for. Some people are looking to produce the smallest amount that they can because they want to test proof of concept, and that's completely okay, right? Others know, I want to make this garment. I need to make it for $35. How do I do that? In the beginning, we have so much control over your pricing. Because why? Because nothing's made yet. It's all just theoretical. So if we know you want to make a $35 garment, then what we can do is not only can we tweak things, use different fabrics, different construction, and really pull it together properly, but what we can do is we can tell you based off of the price point you need to hit how many units you would have to do too. So this is if you understand the value of product development, it becomes just a pleasurable time because now you're a conductor and you are managing the whole thing with your head up. You're not playing catch up. You're not freaking out because you already put the order in and you're backtracking. You get to play chef, because I know I look kind of like a chef here today, and you get to build your perfect meal. Okay. Those are some of the typical things that I get asked, and I just wanted to go through that process so that it's clear. These questions are all good, and they're all valid, and we want you to know that we're here to help you. But until we understand the scope of your project, and until we really, really can wrap our minds around what it is we need to do so that you're super happy, we can't give you a quote, we can't give you lead times. What we are good at is building supply chain. So another way to think about it is you're not buying a product from us, you're hiring a team. You're hiring a team of people that are the best at what they do so that you don't have to spend years, and I mean years because most people come in having wasted a lot of time trying to figure this whole supply chain out. Your job as the fashion entrepreneur is to be very clear on your vision, who your customer is, and make sure that you're very good once you get the product out, selling it, and creating the creative around it, okay? So hopefully that answered a lot of your questions, And I look forward to seeing you guys at a kickoff meeting soon. See ya.